Welcome to Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. In this week's special program, AHRC TV looks at land rights in India. Local communities fight against bauxite mining in Odisha. Activists resisting mining in one of the oldest salt forests in Asia arrested on false charges. And human rights defender Sachin Jain speaks about development versus the Indian people. Welcome to Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. I am Jessica Fernando. In the 1980s, a powerful people's movement in the Gandhamardan Hills in Odisha's Bargarh district prevented the destruction of large swathes of forest to bauxite mining. Today, 30 years later, Gandhamardan and neighboring areas are again threatened by destructive mining. Dalits and Adivasis face loss of traditional lands and livelihoods. Both the state and union government are attempting to silence protests in favor of unfettered development. Video volunteers reports from the Gandhamardan Hills about illegal and unconstitutional methods used by the authorities to crush dissent and pave the way for mining projects.
80 दशकरे होइतिबा गंधमार्दन सुरक्षा आंदोलन एक सफल जन आंदोलन सरकार बाध्य होई जन आंदोलन रो चापरे गंधमार्दन रु खणी खोलिबा बंद करि दैथिले सांप्रतिक परिस्थिति रे सरकार नियमगिरी बाफलीमाली सीजीमाली आदिले बॉक्साइट खणी खोलिबा पई चुक्ति करिसंती सांप्रतिक परिस्थिति रे गंधमार्दन सुरक्षा समावेश रो बहुत गुरुत्व रहिछि ओडिशा राज्य बरगढ़ जिला गंधमार्दन पाददेश रे होइतिबा गंधमार्दन सुरक्षा समावेश जन आंदोलन मानक पई एक प्रेरणा जोगाउ
केते बेले कि मा को मा कुकरा डाकला न काय गो मा कुकरा डाकला न चलो ओइ छो सब आरो ए गाड़ी मोटर आइले कि छेकलो के तेरो सेटा ही रे गाड़ी आसला से खड़िया रोड आनो गवर्नमेंट गाड़ी क्या हला काहे कि रखि छ काना कि बाहर के तमे फटाबो आ गाड़ी मोटर चलाबो कोई करी कहले नहीं छाड़ो बात कहले नहीं छाड़ो कोई करी सामने जे 100 महिला पत्नी करो तेरो सेनो ले फोन कले पाइंग मार रहे जे पुलिस गले पदमपुर रो पुलिस गले केहनी ना पुलिस के खातर ने करनु बेलके सोनपुर बरगढ़ जिला जिला तेरो सेनो और पुलिस जेते बेल के आसले आउ सेंदा धमका चमका इले कले कि ई गंधमार्दन पहाड़ के पहुंचावाल लगे हमें जान जीवन देने छो जेते सरकारी माने आसले भी हमें नहीं छाणु बरंग पछे हमर जीवन पलि जीवा आ हमें छाणु नहीं।
Mahan, in the Singarali district of the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, has become another front in the battle between economic growth, indigenous communities, and conservation. Mahan has one of the oldest sal forests of Asia. The forests and its residents face annihilation as two corporations, SR and Hindalco, want to mine coal there. Video volunteers talk to those resisting SR's project. They explain how the Gram Sabha process, essential for establishing consent for a project affecting a community, has been manipulated, and those fighting against the corporation have been arbitrarily arrested.
पंचायत राज अधिनियम में उल्लेख किया गया है कि 7 दिवस पूर्व ग्रामीणों को सूचना होना चाहिए कि ग्राम सभा होनी है। अगर कोई भी आपातकालीन स्थिति आ जाती है तो उसमें 3 दिन का डेट दिया हुआ है, वो भी उसका कारण बताना पड़ेगा कि 3 दिन में वो क्यों कर रहे हैं, जबकि इसके पहले ऐसा होता नहीं था। हमारे यहाँ अचानक में ग्राम सभा रख लेते थे और ग्राम सभा ऐसी होती थी कि ग्राम सभा में जैसे 6 मार्च की जो ग्राम सभा हुई मेरे यहाँ मनमानी तौर पे वहाँ पे ये चीज़ पहले से किसी को पता भी नहीं था कि जंगल देने की बात कही जाएगी इसमें कंपनी को, और वहाँ जाने पे ये पता हुआ कि जंगल को कंपनी को देने के बीच की बात है इस ग्राम सभा में। तो वहाँ पे 184 लोग उपस्थित हुए और 184 लोगों की उपस्थिति के बाद रजिस्टर क्लोज किया गया
पदमुद्रा सहित।
हाँ, पदमुद्रा सहित वहाँ पे सरपंच, गांव का प्रधान जो होते हैं, सचिव,
सहायक सचिव,
ये रोजगार सहायक, तीनों ने अपना सील लगा के और वहीं पे अपना खाता क्लोज किया।
कार्यवाही उपस्थिति
और उसी दिन रात में इन लोगों ने एक घर में बैठ के,
उसी प्रधान के घर में
बैठ के और इन लोगों ने वोटर लिस्ट उठाया और 184 जहाँ पे क्लोज था 85, 86 और 87 3 ये
नंबर
के सामने उन लोगों का सील है। और 88 से फिर सिग्नेचर स्टार्ट हुआ, नाम स्टार्ट हुआ तो 1125 तक गया है। उसमें 9 मृतक हैं
तो
और 2 लोग जेल में थे उस समय, उनका भी नाम ग्राम सभा में मिलता है। तो इस प्रकार की ग्राम सभा हुई है यहाँ पे।
ये हमारे साथी विजय सिंह जी हैं, जो अभी केस इनके ऊपर, हम भी उसी केस में हैं।
चार्जशीट में इनका भी नाम है।
हम भी उसी केस में हैं। और मैं शपथ पूर्वक बोलता हूँ कि ये उस वक्त पे 2 दिन नहीं गए थे जंगल।
2 दिन गए ही नहीं थे वहाँ पे।
और कोई छेड़खानी नहीं हुई कंपनी के अधिकारियों से, जंगल विभाग के अधिकारी से, पुलिस प्रशासन भी वहाँ मौजूद थी, महिला पुरुष दोनों थे, पर किसी भी प्रकार का छेड़खानी नहीं की हमारे महान संघर्ष समिति की कोई सदस्य।
पूरा वीडियो है, पूरा वीडियो रिकॉर्ड
वीडियो है अपने पास,
मुझे भी पता सब कुछ वीडियो में।
लेकिन तो भी अवैधानिक रूप पे यही महेंद्र शर्मा ने ऐसा FIR दर्ज करके, और 12 बजे रात्रि के वक्त में ये कोई पुलिस का अधिकार है, कोई कानून कहती है, कोई अधिकार है, कम से कम एक बार सूचित किया होता।
नोटिस जारी तो करना चाहिए कि आपके ऊपर ये मुकदमा दर्ज है, आप थाना आ जाइए। तो इन्होंने क्या किया था कि ये लोग थाने नहीं पहुंचे होते, एक बार कंफर्म तो करना चाहिए।
और पुलिस बताइए 12 बजे रात्रि के वक्त में चोरों की भांति जाके कोई बालकनी से चढ़ रहा है, तो कोई किधर से लटक रहा है, कोई किधर से लटक रहा है।
कि कितने बड़े मुलजिम हैं, आतंकवादी हैं, जैसा ऐसा मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है। हाँ, उन लोगों के तरीके से ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं कितना बड़ा मुजरिम को पकड़ने जा रहा हूँ।
सारा जिम्मेवारी कंपनी को सौंप दिया, शासन प्रशासन की पूरी जिम्मेवारी कंपनी को सौंप दिया। तो मैंने यही बोला कि जब सारा काम कंपनी ही करेगी तो आप प्रधानमंत्री जो है उसको इस्तीफा दिलवा दीजिए, रिजाइन मरवा दीजिए, कंपनी बने। और जो मुख्यमंत्री है उसको भी रिजाइन मरवा दीजिए, यही कंपनी ही रहेगी। जब सारा प्रक्रिया कंपनी ही करेगी तो आप क्यों किस लिए आए?
There is rising concern about unbridled exploitation of natural resources in India in the name of development. What is the impact on local communities and sustainability in the wake of quick profits? Have recent laws on forest conservation and the rights of indigenous people replaced exploitative colonial-era legislation? Have the 100 million Indians affected by the government development projects since independence benefited? To help answer these questions, AHRC TV speaks to Indian human rights defender Sachin Jain.
In last 25 years, when liberalized economy started taking place in India, Indian government started having big mega developmental projects, and it was thought out that without having infrastructure development, you cannot have economic development properly. The first thing is that in the name of development, we are over-exploiting our resources. That is one of the major concern. The way natural resources are being exploited, in that way we cannot say that this development is a sustainable development. We can utilize our resources in terms of mining coal or bauxite or aluminium or iron ore or anything. Means it will be taken away in next 35 to 50 years, and then you will be left nothing with you. So in that context, there are debates starting at the community level to the academics, that how we should utilize our natural resources. And we should actually work on human development and sustainable development perspective. So, and which is not the prime objective of the governments. Second thing is that the way these government is not looking towards the sustainable development concept. They want immediate impact on their economy. They want to improve their economy with immediate effect. So that is because of that they are over exploiting the resources, which is actually negatively impacting local communities. Like India is one of the is a country which has almost 10% of the population which is indigenous society, and they are largely dependent on the natural resources. So their actually resources are being taken away. We are still having, we used to have a Land Acquisition Act which was made by the British government in 1894. Recently, last year only Government of India changed it. Means for more than 120 years we were continuing with the Colonial Act. In which, in the name of public utility, in the name of public interest, government was free to take land and water away from the people. So now, what the main thing is that how land, water, mountains, forest will be utilized, and we should also be responsible towards its protection, which is not a key component in the present developmental policies. So environment is also impacting, means on the one hand, community is facing negative impact, and environment is also having a lot of problems. So, in that sense, inequality is growing, like in terms of income inequality, consumption inequality. It is causing food insecurity and nutrition insecurity. So, the ultimate thing is that this entire concept of development actually is not going to make any impact in favor of the people. And the problem is we don't have a proper planning for the use of natural resources. The another thing is, even if you are making these kind of big developmental projects and implementing them, then there is no resettlement policy in place which is pro people. India is having has been having like more than 3,500 dams in last 65 years after independence, which has caused, means the problem is that we don't have a comprehensive data in place. Government has not actually put information in place that how many families have been affected due to these big developmental projects, and so why there is no proper rehabilitation policy, means what these people are doing, where are they actually, in what condition they are, do they have secure livelihood options or not, do they have health, safe drinking water facilities or not. So what these people are, first time on academics, in academic sector, Professor Walter Fernandez actually gave first time one data of displacement people due to these mega developmental projects. And he mentioned there's approximately 100 million people have been affected due to mega developmental projects starting from 1947 to 2000. And out of them, 60% are scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, means the most vulnerable communities are affected more because of because of these developmental projects. But there is no consolidated data, there is no policy for the protection of these people, there is no security for livelihood and health and drinking water, education. So the problem is it can be seen in a way that ultimately the marginalized community will have to sacrifice their own lives in the name of development for the cause of these mega developmental projects. And ultimately, when you see these thermal power projects, big hydel projects, these marginalized communities are not getting power, means they are not getting electricity, they are not getting safe drinking water, they are becoming more vulnerable. So the problem is that the benefit is not going to the people, those who are getting affected because of these developmental projects. And ultimately, the main thing is that these natural resources, which actually belong to the society, are being exploited in favor of the big corporates and the market. And the worst thing is, the worst part of this entire scene is, every year, means Government of India gives more than 3 lakh crore rupees tax exemptions, revenue exemptions to the market. On the one hand, natural resources are being exploited. On the other hand, government resources are being given as charity to these corporates, and that's why government ultimately falls short in terms of resources when we ask for the implementation of right to education, right to food, right to health, right to safe drinking water. They say we don't have resources. They don't have resources because these resources are being actually given to the corporates. So it's a complex situation, and ultimately what we see that it will create a lot of crisis for the future generations of the country. And in such a situation, people's movements and people's organizations are critically examining these policies and raising questions. And since state has a particular perspective on these developmental policies, so they always consider it, they always say that these are the anti-development and anti-national voices, because these are the questions which are actually, in a sense, exposing the nexus which is there from policymakers and the market. So that's how I would like to say that for that purpose it has to be seen from a complex perspective, and it is not in favor of the people.
That is all for this week's Human Rights Asia Weekly Roundup. For more information, log on to www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.